Let's welcome onto the show here on R&R in the Morning. You're on San Antonio Sports Star. He's Rudy J. I am Rob Thompson. And it is time for head coach of your Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy, as always brought to you by AA Best Bell Bonds. Good morning, Coach. How you doing this Friday?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Coach.
So here you sit, man. It's been the last couple of weeks. So you got your quarterback back. How's your training room look? Looks like a lot of health. Guys feeling better.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's I think anytime you play, the Sunday night games, the late games, you get back Monday, and things are, just you're off kilter, by a day and a half, and by the time we got to Wednesday, we actually came out of the game pretty clean. So yeah, I feel really good about our guys getting healthy.
Before we move on to Detroit, Coach, our afternoon show has Stephen Jones on every week, and he talked about, while he said there's no such thing as moral victories, he did talk about the fact that the adjustments you guys made in the second half, your staff and your team, and you guys were able to come out and make that a 3-point game. Talk a little bit about just being able to know that, when you get in the heated battle, even whether you're backup or not, you have the team and the staff to make those adjustments and make the games interesting, regardless of the outcome.
Definitely. I think it really speaks to the locker room and the culture that we've created here. The expectation is, has never, not been about winning, but it's, it's the fact of the matter is it's, how this team is built and, our approach to the game, things, the fourth down conversions they had that were big plays in their scoring drives are, they're tough plays. One's a pick play and one's a, the movement at the line of scrimmage so you have plays like that really factor in the outcome of the first half, and I think it's just important not to overreact to that. And like I told our players, something I keep track of during the game is the big play production, and they had 9 big plays in the first half, we had 7. So the gap, in my view, was not reflected on the scoreboard. I mean, we all know at the end of the day what the scoreboard represents. So I just love the way our team responded at halftime and came out, and obviously we're in a position to go back and take that game. But it's definitely a learning experience we need to learn from.
What's big play plus 20?
Well, it's everything. I mean,
okay.
It's tackles for losses. It's
okay, gotcha.
It's not just the big play run or big play pass. So it's all those things that we have a category of big plays in the game, and historically there's 30. There's right around 30 a game for the offense and defense and special teams, and so
30 total or 30 per team for a winning team.
Total.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, Coach Mike McCarthy.
Based on our statistics, this is an in-house.
Do you grade success like a +1, +2, +3, or is it just positive, negative?
I'm not sure. What do you mean?
Well, in my experience, you get graded post game, and that plays a +1, that plays a -1, you get a +3, or is it just in your grade book? You did good, you did bad, plus and minus.
No, we do. It's either every play is graded as a win, did your job, or needs more.
Gotcha. Coach Mike McCarthy joining us here on San Antonio Sports Star for his weekly update. And we talk about weekly updates. It's been a good couple of weeks. I appreciate that. And you look forward to, you're going to be home for the next couple of weeks. How much time do you get extra when you play at home versus when you're on the road? And how does that, how is that applied?
Well, I mean, just take the travel.
Right.
In the travel alone is a big responsibility. Here in Dallas, obviously, you play in the NFC East, so all your division games are East, and so yeah, definitely, there's no place like home, and we mean that. And it's just the ability to play at AT&T Stadium, and your regularity is a big part of your training in season.
So what I'm getting at is, do you use that extra time for work, or is it extra time for rest? I mean, do you feel, because I know you guys, I mean, you're down to the second every day, and if you end up with 45 extra minutes a week, is it something that you just kind of bank as rest, or do you add something in when you're at home?
Well, I mean, we have a schedule that does not change as far as the workload capacity that we get done Monday through Saturday, whether we're home or away.
Gotcha.
So, the travel is built in. So, yeah, so the workload doesn't change.
When you get to looking at the numbers, Coach, you know how us couch coaches do. I got the Lions. But when you start looking at it, they protect the quarterback well. You guys get after the quarterback well. They're good on the negative plays, as we just talked about. You guys have created 47 negative plays. So it's a complete contrast in the teams, and I think the game would be a little bit more interesting than some people may think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's a big part of how you got to play, and this is good football team we got coming in here. You look at just based on video and staying in tune with the production. So I think like all of us, September football is, there's some wins and losses that definitely can go clearly the other way. So I think you got to stay out of that mode of what the record is, and because it definitely, when you put on the video and you look at the talent, and you look at some of the moving parts and how they lost games. There's definitely a lot here to compete with, and that's where we're approaching it. This is a dangerous football team.
Did you like what you saw from Dak this week? I know you talked about it a lot, how you wanted to see a complete week. How did Dak look this week in practice?
Yeah, definitely. So far, so good. I thought he had a good day yesterday. He's took every rep that we had set out for him. So he had a good day.
You said, I heard you talking about pitch count. I mean, would 40 passes? Was that what it was?
Wednesday, yeah, he threw 40 passes Wednesday. So we threw 70, I think 70 yesterday. So it's this is all part of return to play and just being smart with his workload.
Are you more worried about the passing or the post-pass contact when you're talking about the injury?
Not really worried about it either.
Well, I mean, what was the last concern or last hurdle you had to get past? Was it the grip strength and all of that? Or was it just getting to a point where if he did hit another helmet, there's less concern than there was 5 days ago, kind of stuff?
Well, the thing about it, I mean, you can't view it that way.
Okay.
Quarterbacks are always at threat of hitting your hand on a helmet. That's
right.
Part of playing the position in this league. So, I mean, that just goes with it. So, once he was healthy, once he was fully cleared, that concern was over. It's just more getting him back in sync, with running the offense again.
Gotcha.
With Tyron Smith goes down, and you have to shift Tyler Smith, and everybody's in a panic. But when you look at it, they've come out. Y'all been really well on the offensive line. But the thing about it is, when I looked last week against a team like Philadelphia, no sacks, only 4 hits, you get 5.2 yards per carry. How have you like what your offensive line looked like after all hell broke loose to start the season?
Well, I mean, I really like the path that our O-line has taken, particularly our young players. I mean, we're very young on the left side, and they've continued to get better. Now, Connor McGovern's back in there, and continuity is such a huge statistic that plays into the success of any offensive line. When you have 5 linemen that can line up and practice every day and playing consecutive games, that's where the in sync and rhythm and timing, that that's where that all comes into place. And I think we've been getting a little bit better each and every week. So I like the trajectory that we're on offensive line wise.
Is it like riding a bike when Dak shows back up? I mean, the timing and the continuity that you speak of, or does it take that many reps to get back to where you were?
Well, there's definitely, most things are, like riding a bike, because you got to remember now, during his rehab process, he's the functional activity that he has is a lot of the things that he does, in the
right.
In
he just didn't throw.
He also, and then but he's been working up on on a rep count here, so he just didn't just start throwing this week.
Right.
So he's been throwing. So that part of it, but what you can't replace is the impulses and just being in the live combat zone of the quarterback pocket. So those are the things that he needs. Just needs to work of having people around him. He's throwing, and that's the part that you have to get back into, and that just takes the Thursday practice reps to get that.
Coach Mike McCarthy joining us here, as he does always, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. I'm curious, Coach, when we look at Detroit and the 1-2 punch, they've got 2 good backs, complementary, looks a lot like your team. I'm curious, what's the methodology behind coaching 2 running backs? Is it the play calling? Is one setting up another? Is it down distance and time and right back at the right place? I mean, how do you implement 2 backs and keep them both effective and happy?
Well, the biggest thing is I think you got to recognize there's 17 games in the season. So, I mean, and you're talking about a position that is of high demand as far as what they go through. I mean, the running backs, that's the one position, you're getting hit every time you touch the ball, there isn't much in your job responsibility that is about, outside of running routes or everything else. There's contact. So, I mean, it's a position that you got to be conscientious. That's why when you look at what Zeke's accomplished, to be that level of workload is such an impressive feat in today's game. So I've always felt that you need two, because you want your backs healthiest in the biggest games of the year, and that's going into the playoffs. So and that's hard to accomplish if you just run one back. I mean, because they take a lot of hits, and I think the 17th game is bigger than I think we recognize it for. So yeah, I that's the first part. Second part is, schematically, you like to be able to just to play the same with either one of them, but it's only natural that one has different skills than the other. So you just kind of tilt the play calls one way or the other to that specific back.
It's funny you bring up the 17 games, Coach, because I guess you can only control what you can control. You just got to go do what you got to do. But if you had a vote, should there be another bye? Should you have two buys? I'm seriously. Should you have two buys in 17 weeks?
You're gonna have to.
No, I ain't trying to get you in any trouble. I'm just asking.
No, I think like a lot of things in life, it's TV contracts and all those other factors.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I would be for another buy. I think it's it definitely helps the players without a doubt.
How does, when you got like old stats, not old stats, but Dak Prescott versus Detroit, 8 touchdowns, no INTs, 3-0 versus the Lions, 126.2 passer rating. But that wasn't against this Detroit team. So does any of what he's done in the past factor into Sunday, or that it's just like those are just stats what he did those games?
Well, last time the Cowboys and the Lions played, I think it's 2019, and they have 6 players on their team right now.
Oh,
from
okay.
that. I think that answers the question. I mean, This is a different football team.
Yeah.
Obviously, different coaching staff. I think what Dan Campbell is doing up there is definitely a lot different than the last 2.
Dan's different, Coach.
Yeah. Do you know
Dan's
Coach Campbell?
Different.
No, I don't. I do not know.
Coach Campbell is an Aggie. I went there. I've been running in his circles for a long time. He's been like that the way he is now for his entire life. He's a madman.
Good deal.
We'll leave it at that. Hey, Coach, it's been a quiet week. We appreciate that. Congratulations on getting 4 back and heading into a good weekend. We bid you good health. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you next.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Head coach Mike McCarthy stopping by as he does for his regular.